Woo! What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Dolphins Daily with your boy Chris Kane, your daily dose of Dolphins content, and we're talking Dolphins. We're gonna start with Tyreek. There's always a little bit of drama. This one, I don't think this is Tyreek's fault. I do think this is a little fishy, right? So Tyreek recently posted a picture with Brandon Graham, Eagles, I guess legend at this point, and Tyreek's arm appear to be like in a sling, and you can tell when someone's in a sling because their arm is like they're not outside and they're kind of attached to the body and like in this position, right? So he's flashing his left wrist like throwing a deuce up, but the right arm appears to be in a sling. Now, as far as I know, Tyreek has not had any kind of off-season like shoulder or like forearm type surgery, right? I believe both his wrists have been hurt this year, but the left wrist for sure was really bad. And so seeing him in that was like, okay, Tyreek maybe got a surgery on his right wrist or right shoulder. But then later, he posted on his own page, and his left wrist was in the cast. But his right arm looked fine. No, nothing. Just right arm is cool, left arm in the cast. And now, but in the first picture, there was no cast, sling cast. We don't know what's going on. Um, I believe he got wrist surgery already because the wrist was during the year like his biggest thing. Wrist and the knee were bothering him all year. We know how the wrist got re-aggravated in the pregame disorderly conduct situation kind of thing, non-arrest detainment kind of whatever. But when someone is manhandling your arms, it's gonna mess up your wrist, and of course when you're a receiver you get hit all the time. So I believe his left wrist for sure to have been surgically fixed. I don't know what's going on in that right arm because I'm looking at it like, all right, maybe he just didn't want to put his right arm in the picture, but your hand would at least be outside the shoulder in the front pocket of a hoodie or in your main pocket. It wouldn't just be draped over the full arm and the arm be here underneath the sweater. That is not how people wear sweaters unless they have an injury. So we're calling this wrist gate because he may have two injured wrists and the left wrist is the worst one. And so maybe the double dip, maybe the shoulder needed to get put back in place in some way. We don't know. It's something to monitor, though. The left wrist, we know that's going to heal. I'm sure they put pins in it. He's going to be okay. Knock on wood. That right arm, I don't know. What's going on over there, Tyreek? There's always some sneakiness going on. Like, I didn't know last year he had a knee injury until he was on camera saying, "Hey, bro, I got a knee injury." I was like, when? Where'd you get that? Don't throw me my knee, bro. I got knee injuries. I got surgery. It was like, you had surgery? First time I heard that, right? So I'm hoping that the wrist is the only thing. I don't want a left wrist, right shoulder, still rehabbing knee off season. That's a lot of different things and body parts to be breaking down. So we know left wrist. We don't know about the right arm, but we watching. We watching. So we mentioned a franchise tag earlier in the week and how the only person the Dolphins will possibly tag will be Jevon Holland. And by all indications from the team and from Jevon, Jevon came out and said basically the team's trying to like phase me out on social media. Yeah, they've been doing that for months now. Like the team has been very adamant. We're not going to pay you. Like we're just not going to buy into it. We don't think safeties are that valuable. Sorry. And this is what teams do when they want you to like kind of go away. They start letting things leak out. Like if you hear the report, let's say Jevon tests free agency, and he doesn't get what he wants. Right? He wants $20 million a year, 4-year deal, $80 million, probably like 50 to 60 guaranteed. Right? That's kind of where that's in line where he wants to go. There's maybe one or two teams that might even possibly do that, but it's way more likely that those teams are like, I feel like we can kind of drop the Jevon Holland, right? And they just don't do it. And so that price tag starts coming back down towards that 17, maybe that 15 million mark. And then, maybe somebody would do a 3-year, $45 million deal, 30 million guarantee kind of thing, right? But when a team wants to depress your value or they just want you to go away, you start hearing leaks. Hey, Jevon was kind of late to practice a lot. Hey, Jevon, remember how Jevon was with Vic Fangio? Y'all saw it. I mean, he literally kicked rocks in the video. And then Vic Fangio went and had one of the best defensive coaching masterpieces in the Super Bowl, right? And so the Dolphins haven't been like slandering yet. They have been just kind of like slowly getting his face off of stuff because I think they realize he would have to come down to probably like 10 to 12 million a year for Miami to even consider bringing him back. And that's half of what he wants. And I don't think his value is that depressed. I do think his last year's season was not great for him. And so maybe he would have gotten 20 million 2 years ago. I think you're going to see him somewhere in that 3-year, $45 million range. That's my guess. Don't have any reporting. Just saying. It makes way more sense. I'm not giving him somebody 4 or 5 years and you just had your worst season. I'm not doing that. Doesn't make any sense, right? So we don't want to burn the bridge, which is why I think Miami hasn't really done like all the super leakage. Because we know when you're in a team for a number of years, there's stories. Oh, he got in a fight with a wide receiver one time, late to practice, late to flights, unruly, unreasonable demands. They get it. There's a lot of verbiage they get into that just lets you know we not for you no more, right? So we haven't gotten quite to that point yet, but I do think if Jevon keeps pushing it, maybe, and maybe free agency is not treating him the way he wants to, then I think you might see some flames. Hopefully not, because I want to keep things cool. Like, we've loved having you here, but I do not think he's coming back. Now, every blue moon, I have stories to report that are not, I can't say they're not factual. They are not researched, right? This is just, I feel it here. And I try to keep those to a minimum. When I'm reporting this is the cap, this coach is interviewing, these are facts. But every blue moon, you got to make a story here and then say it. And then sometimes that happens there. So there's no facts on this. There's no reporting. I don't have any intel. All I'm saying is, Derek Carr, back up to the Dolphins? That's all hey, you heard it here first. No facts. I'm just putting it out there. Now, I can give you a little bit of context. This isn't completely random. Kellen Moore came out almost immediately. I don't know about this Derek Carr situation. Now, usually, remember when I said teams will try to undercut you, undermine you when they don't want you around? When they experienced, quarterback, O-lineman, whatever, is kind of on the outs for the team might say something for one or two purposes. We want you to take a pay cut, or we want you out of the building. And usually, number two will be, but if you take a big enough pay cut, maybe we'll let you stay. The Saints, as I said many times, have by far the worst cap situation in the league. Awful money management from the people up top. Just terrible. So, they're a bad team with no money to spend, with no incoming pick that's going to catapult them forward. It's a complete lost situation. Kellen Moore knows, I know this is a garbage job, but I got to get a head coaching job because those are few and far between, right? Derek Carr is not my guy. I didn't bring him. I don't trust him. I don't believe in him. And we don't have the team to put around him. No reason for Derek Carr to be on that team, right? Derek Carr was on the Raiders, who were mostly bad his whole career. He's under 500. The Saints are mostly bad. Can Derek Carr start somewhere? Maybe, possibly. Anywhere that's going to go somewhere? Absolutely not. If any team is starting day one, Derek Carr, what kind of year you think you're about to have? 6 wins, maybe 7. That's not a team you're we got D Carr, baby. We about to go nowhere. That's what Derek Carr is. But my rule for backup quarterback, if you had to play 4 games, can you get me to 2-2? We just can't implode when the quarterback goes out. Can you get me 2-2? Can you do like a Browning did for Cincinnati a couple years ago? Can you give me what Nick Foles did on his Super Bowl run? Can you give me a Paxton Lynch when Peyton was on his way out? Give me a couple games that we have a 4 to 5 game run. Can you keep me around 500? And then the starter comes back and gets us over the top. Because if you can do that and you're relatively cheap, that's where I want you to be. Derek Carr is pretty healthy. He's experienced. No threat to Tua. A little bit bigger arm, so maybe some deeper throws could be in the cards. Seems like a pretty straight dude, in terms of ego and stuff. I don't see him in the locker room throwing around his. I made the playoffs one time chess thing, right? No reporting, pure speculation with a granuloma of something. There's something with that Saints team. I can easily see them trying to trade Derek for like a 5th, 6th round pick. Them not getting what they want back. Him being a full free agent, just getting cut. And then Miami being like, psst, you want to retire in Miami? Yeah, you do. Come on, Derek Carr. You've lived in Fresno. You've been in Oakland/Vegas. Now New Orleans. I mean, Miami just feels it's swampy. You know what I'm saying? It gets hot. You know what it is. Just come on home, dog. You ain't got to worry about playing. You've made enough money. And Tua's likely to miss a few games. Then you'll get to play. You got Tyreek and Waddle. And Jonnu with Devon. Fam. Devon, kind of like a baby Alvin Kamara. I'm just saying. It's not the worst idea in the world. Just remember, you heard it here first on Dolphins Daily. We'll see y'all next time. Peace.